Yo, how are you guys? Welcome to another tech review video. The intro that you saw just now was shot using Slypod E, a slider and a monopod at the same time. Some may ask, why would you still need a Slypod in 2021? Oh yeah, before that, a quick disclaimer, Moza sent me this Slypod E to test out. However, I wasn't asked or paid to say anything specific. This video will be based on my own opinion after testing it out on the recent shooting. So back to the question, why would someone need a Slypod? If you need to add a smooth footage to your video, you really should consider using some kind of slider. After a couple of weeks of trying out, I must say I love the user experience of using this Slypod, especially when I use it for indoor product or gadget shooting. Firstly, the build quality is just solid. Probably you can use it as a weapon when you shoot outside. It is lightweight and easy to set up. It is about 920 grams and I found it very easy to set up for my product shoot as compared when I use a traditional motorized slider. Traditional motorized sliders tends to have problem when the slider moves from one end to another end. Your slider may lose its level because the weight of the camera setup goes from one side to another side. And you usually need to use two support legs to make sure that the slider holds the horizontal position. I found it is less of this problem when I shoot with Slypod, probably because of the maximum extension of Slypod is like less than 30 cm. Secondly, the movement for very close-up shot is just so smooth. In this case, I am using 55mm f1.8 lens for the e-bike shot and also Laowa probe lens. The outcome is just buttery smooth. I just love them. The reason for that smoothness is because the lowest speed that this Slypod can go is down to 0.15mm. Yeah, 0.15. This is how slow it is. And because of that, I do not need to shoot the video in 120 frames per second, which Sony a7 III can only shoot with 1080p. Now I can shoot with 4K with this extra slow motion at 30 frames per second. The only thing that I should highlight here is to avoid the Slypod on a tripod setup to fall. A good quality tripod is recommended for the safety of camera setup. This thing can take a very high payload. If you set up it in a vertical mode, it can take up to 9 kg, and for horizontal setup, it can take up to 4 kg. I think it's definitely exceeded that what I need. The battery life is about 2 hours, however, you can still plug in power bank and continue your shooting. On the flip side, of course, which I mentioned just now, the Slypod maximum extension is only at 28 cm, which I think may not be enough to use as a real monopod, or in certain scenarios where you need more extension, it could be too short for you. For outdoor shooting, because of the size and weight, it makes it very travel friendly. Portability and mobility is very important here, so bringing Slypod with you is like adding an additional helper behind you, and you can set it up and film yourself. Adding motion in your time-lapse is another thing that you can do to bring your time-lapse to the next level and give them a professional touch. It is subtle, not noticeable addition, but the overall feeling of the time-lapse will be just different. With the Slypod's slower speed at 0.15mm per second, you can take up to 30 minutes of time-lapse from zero to full extension. Probably good enough for some type of time-lapse, but if you plan to do day to night time-lapse which require a few hours of motion, probably that is not good enough. Let's talk a bit on how to use and set up your Slypod. I mentioned earlier it is very simple to set up. From the top, it has a quick release connection system. I'm currently attaching a pen tilt head, which is super easy to hook on or even taking off. There's Aka Swiss quick release with 1/4 inch or 3/8 thread, which allows you to mount your Slypod easily on any tripod. Slypod designed it in such a way that it is simple to use without much button. Even without using the apps, it can be used super fast. Basically, once you turn it on, you press the plus or minus button, the Slypod is already ready to go. However, do take note that when you connect it to the apps, the button was basically disabled. It's kind of annoying sometimes as after some idling, the connection seems to drop and you will have to kill the apps and reconnect it back. It also comes with a Moza Master App, which you can do some precision control with the apps, like dragging the Slypod from point A to point B, or even setting the time to complete the movement, which is super useful for setting up your time lapse. So once you hit the confirm and start the motion, even if you exit the apps, the slider will keep going per the setup. There's one problem that a bit of annoying is because the limitation of 0.15mm per second, your setting of time to complete the task should not be slower than the minimum speed it can go. I really hope that the app should somehow tell you what's the range of time you can set for this action. I used quite a bit of try and error to find this out. Moza also designed this slider in a full ecosystem where you can integrate their Moza Air Cross tool for multi-axis complex shot with control through the apps. I do not have Air Cross tool, so I can't speak much about it, but I really love to see what type of shot it can go with integration of Air Cross tool. So as a wrap up, this Slypod as a slider, it is compact, stable, easy to use, doesn't require too much of accessory, perfect for product shooting, time-lapse and travel. However, because of its simplicity, it is not suitable for shots that require a lot of movement, not suitable for interview or shot with require to get audio because the Slypod is just too noisy. Yes, this is the noise that I'm talking about. So that's it. I hope this video helps you out. If you are considering Slypod, you can check out the link below. It is affiliate link, but it doesn't cost extra to you if you are buying through the link. Also, I know that Moza is releasing Slypod Pro in Kickstarter program, which now can extend to 53cm, which is almost double than the Slypod E, which I have, which is only at 28cm. So hit the likes button if you like this video, subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you in the next gadget review soon.